Move over, Lacey Chabert. Take a seat, Danica McKellar.
It's okay.
You two reigning sovereigns of Christmas movies can take a well-deserved break because there is a new queen in town, and her name is Vanessa Hudgens.
Get out.
While some might still see Hudgens as the girl who danced and sang her way into our hearts via High School Musical, our girl has been putting in the work in order to cement herself as the new matriarch of the Christmas movie genre. And today, we want to figure out just how she holly-jollied her way onto the throne. Like many stars who got their start in the world of Disney, after her turn as Gabriela Montez in the High School Musical movies was over, Vanessa Hudgens set out to prove to the world that she could not only just sing and dance, but she could really act as well. She took it upon herself to pick roles that were the complete opposite of her glossy Disney persona, in films like the controversial Spring Breakers, Sucker Punch, and Gimme Shelter. And while she definitely succeeded in showing off her full range of talents, there is no denying that Vanessa Hudgens does sweet better than just about anyone else.
I love what I do and I get to do it all the time.
So when she appeared in The Princess Switch in 2018, it was truly a Christmas miracle. And in the years since, the Vanessa Hudgens Christmas movies have kept on coming. In the first, Hudgens plays a young baker named Stacy, who is entered into a baking competition in the fictional country of Belgravia. There, she has a chance encounter with the princess of Belgravia named Margaret, who happens to look exactly like Stacy, because they're both played by Vanessa Hudgens.
Stacy DeNovo.
I think we were destined to run into each other.
1 year after The Princess Switch premiered on Netflix, we were awarded with another Hudgens Christmas classic titled The Night Before Christmas, in which she plays a young teacher who falls in love with a time-traveling medieval knight. And now finally, in 2020, Netflix released The Princess Switch Switched Again, the sequel to the original Princess Switch. But this time we get not one, not two, but three Vanessa Hudgens-es. Not only does Hudgens reprise her roles as Stacy and Princess Margaret, but this time she dons a blonde wig in order to play Margaret's evil cousin, Lady Fiona.
Oh, it's such a pain to find good help these days.
And in case you're wondering if the movies ever give some sort of reason as to why all these three women look completely identical, maybe because they were separated at birth in some kind of parent trap situation, well, they don't. These are just three vaguely related, or not related at all, women who just happen to look exactly the same. While many actors and actresses who have come before have made their fair share of Christmas movies, we can't think of any others who have starred opposite two different versions of themselves. It really is an iconic movie if you think about it, and for that reason, we have to recognize Vanessa Hudgens as the queen of the Christmas movie that she is.
This should be interesting. Let's go.
We're thrilled that while she definitely still chooses interesting and challenging projects during the time when she isn't princess switching and switching again, Hudgens seems to have totally embraced her destiny as the reigning queen of the holiday season. But what exactly makes The Princess Switch such an instant classic holiday movie? There are thousands and thousands of these Hallmark-style films out there, and they do tend to follow a pretty similar trajectory. A young woman who is either a baker, school teacher, or a writer/stylist for a fashion magazine is looking to fall in love in all the wrong places.
True love is always a worthy wish.
She winds up taking a trip back to her hometown, a trip to a foreign land, or a literal trip into the arms of an unexpected yet exceedingly handsome stranger who will eventually teach her the importance of Christmas and perfectly groomed 5 o'clock shadow. And it's not like The Princess Switch is the first Christmas movie with a royal theme either. The much-beloved Christmas Prince series is definitely the most famous example of an ordinary woman who falls in love with an out-of-her-league royal, even if all of his royal family members disapprove. And yet, The Princess Switch and its sequel really stand out among all of them. Whether that is because Netflix has simply perfected the Christmas movie formula, giving us all of the classic holiday rom-com elements that we want, while adding in a layer of humor and excitement by having a big star like Vanessa Hudgens play multiple versions of herself, The Princess Switch knows that it's there to make us smile and laugh and feel a little warmer during the cold winter months, and it delivers on all fronts. But something we only just discovered might just make The Princess Switch and all of the other Netflix Christmas movies even more important than we thought. They're all connected. That's right, it can now be proven that 9 of the best Christmas movies on Netflix, including The Princess Switch, all take place in the same universe. It goes back to 2018's The Holiday Calendar, in which a clip from the 2017 movie The Christmas Inheritance can be seen playing on TV. It also pops up once again on TV in the first Princess Switch movie. In another little cameo, Netflix Holiday in the Wild can be seen playing on screen during the second Vanessa Hudgens Christmas movie, The Night Before Christmas. But here's where things get really interesting. In the first Princess Switch, we see Margaret and Kevin watching the beloved A Christmas Prince movie on TV. Yet in Switched Again, during Margaret's coronation scene, Amber and Richard, the main characters in A Christmas Prince, are actually in attendance at the event. Which can only mean one thing. In the world of the Princess Switch, A Christmas Prince is actually a documentary about Amber and Richard. And we're not even done yet. In 2018's The Night Before Christmas, Vanessa Hudgens' older sister tells her daughter that her grandparents brought back a giant decorative acorn from a trip to Aldovia, the fictional country in which A Christmas Prince takes place. And then, in A Christmas Prince, the Royal Baby, a map is shown which lists Belgravia, the other fictional country where the action of the Princess Switch is set, as a neighboring country to Aldovia. Phew! Is anyone else tired all of a sudden? If you need a visual for how all of these films tie into one another, Netflix themselves released this helpful infographic. So not only do we know that The Princess Switch and A Christmas Prince are taking place just across a border from one another, and that the royal families actually know each other, but that somehow The Night Before Christmas is also in the same world, even though both Belgravia and Aldovia are fictional, and is set in the very real Ohio. What does it all mean? We have to wonder just why Netflix would have gone through all of the trouble of connecting these films to one another in such obvious ways. They had to have known that fans would spot the cameos and figure the whole thing out. So what exactly are they planning? It makes sense that Belgravia and Aldovia could exist in the same world, but why did they sneak in that reference to Aldovia in The Night Before Christmas?
We don't concern ourselves with the details. We have people for that.
Of course. Of course.
While we don't know for sure, we have one theory. Brooke and her time-traveling knight are eventually going to make their way into the Princess Switch. We already have 3 Vanessa Hudgens-es. It's not out of the realm of possibility that we could soon have a 4th. And hey, they have already introduced time travel, so would a plane ride to Belgravia really be all that difficult?
Modern technology is lit AF.
And who's to say they'll stop there? We have a feeling that Netflix is just getting started with the expansion of their Christmas movie cinematic universe, following in the footsteps of Marvel and the Avengers. We can picture a future in which all of the characters from The Night Before Christmas, The Princess Switch, and A Christmas Prince all come together in one massive Avengers Endgame-style spectacle. Only there will be less war, and a lot more mistaken identity hijinks and happy endings. We hope. And if all of that winds up happening, it will mean a million more opportunities for Vanessa Hudgens to take on as many different characters as she possibly can. We know Netflix has the budget for all of the wigs needed to make it work. We absolutely hope that one day in the future, we are gifted a movie called The Princess Switch: The Switchening, in which Vanessa Hudgens plays every single character, including the 4 that she already has created. And maybe one day, they'll try to explain just why all of these women have the exact same face. We cannot wait to see how Netflix continues to tie these 3 films together over the holidays for years to come. And we have no doubt that the reigning Queen of Christmas, Miss Vanessa Hudgens, will be at the center of it all. Now that we have established that Vanessa Hudgens is, without a doubt, the absolute queen of the Christmas season, we can only hope that her reign is long and prosperous. What about you? Do you love the Netflix Christmas universe as much as we do? Or do you think that a different star should sit on the throne? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep up with all the latest videos from The Things.